Lutrolux is a different venture from my typical studio craft practice in that I've endeavoured to create a group of, or a suite of products that have a commercial focus. This is the first occasion in which I've partnered with full commercial scale manufacturers and developed a product that I don't even have to put a hand on, and that is in fact produced outside my own studio. I realised that I didn't have the full potential to produce objects in my studio with the kind of economies of scale or the economies that were necessary to have a financially sustainable product. When I'm prototyping for a commercial product, there's a sense of it having an endpoint where I have to release the product or that design content and stop my engagement with it and lock it into a system of production. And that doesn't necessarily occur in the craft process. So the prototyping in the that you see, that is behind the products that you see behind me, is sometimes it's a much shorter, more intensive, and it works with a lot more, for me, constraints, because I have to match my design content with I suppose a manufacturing and a commercial metric. And once that's in place, it's all locked down into the system of production and off it goes.
It was back in 2009, and I met Michael Murray, who was the Managing Director of Ricumba Lighting. Michael had just purchased Ricumba, and we were talking about how it'd be fantastic to do some projects together. So they don't have their own branded products, and yet they have this amazing capacity and skill and knowledge residing within their staff. On the right we have Ricotta, which is all about the gentleman who works in the factory, and with a spot welder and a bit of wire he can whip up anything, and he's been doing that for 25 years. He never ever gets to see what he makes as in a final product when it leaves the factory floor. So I sort of said to him, well, what if we design a lamp where we see your work on the outside? And he seriously thought it was a joke, because it just doesn't make sense. He said, why? He said, that's not a lamp. When I look at this slide, you know, I see the Ricumba culture, and I see the people that work in the factory. We didn't know where it would go or where it would end up. We just had to commit to a process and realise that whether we produce things that would appear in a one-off exhibition or whether they would be production pieces, we were quite prepared to sort of see where they went. And I'm absolutely thrilled to think that we've done something that can be both looked at as a site for speaking about manufacturing and prototyping in Australia, but something that will also have a life on the market, which and that's fabulous.
We decided to pick a very singular quality of the hot glass, and that is its ability to tack together and to stretch apart. Thought about the way that liquid would move over top of that tacked and stretched point in the glass, how it would move over it, how it would separate and catch the light and become magnified by the glass as well. We live in the Adelaide Hills. We've been thinking a lot about wine culture, and we realized that that function could actually be used for oxygenating.
The qualities of working with molten glass are something else, again, like the ability to blow a material and for it to catch the light and for it to form natural curves, and it can be blown and cut and bashed and sandblasted, and glass is a pretty amazing material in itself.
The concept behind the GS1 speaker was to create an icon of what a speaker is, to focus on what the function of the speaker is, and that is to emphasize the driver. And as such, glass became obvious almost immediately. Finally, for prototyping here at the Jamfactory, particularly with Nick Mount and Deb Jones, it provided this opportunity to have an exchange of ideas and really benefit from their expertise in the material. The ultimate product could not have existed in another material. The relationship between it and the process became very, very close. and that was a result of expert guidance.